Welcome back, and hello if you are new, and thank you for tuning in for another week where I geek out about metal. The world is incredibly angry, and with it I think we may have found the best soundtrack as End released their brand new album Splinters from an Ever-Changing Face. Yet another supergroup, End, are made up of Brendan Murphy of Counterparts, Will Putney from Fit for an Autopsy, Gregory Thomas from Misery Signals, Joe Pepito of Shai Hulud, and the almighty Billy Reimer of the Dillinger Escape Plan. The entire record essentially lasts about half an hour and lives in that world between grindcore and hardcore, and there are sections where the band try and cram as much stuff in, given that each song is roughly about 2 minutes long. But the thing is they never feel overly kind of saturated, and there are sections where the band are able to groove, but then there's also a lot of interesting dynamics that have been implemented into the sound. Though what I do really love is this sense of really hopeless atmosphere on the album. And it could be in the riffs or the melodies of Every Empty Vein or Hesitation Wounds, but for most part, it's to do with this kind of narrative that is throughout the album of these sort of, they're kind of like voices, little dialogues, but the sound is slightly warped and creates that sort of disjointed and slightly kind of terrifying overall feel to it.
There's a whole thing about this place called hell where bad people go to after they're dead.
There's rarely a moment where the band sits still on this record, and I have to say that I think that's mainly down to the schizophrenic drum patterns that Billy Reimer has put in. Only Billy Reimer could do something like this, where you can hear all of the intricacies layered into each other, but also remain with that kind of pace that's kept up for the entirety of the song. However, there are times when the band do slow down, and when they do, it's a fantastic example of just how brutal they can be. As I mentioned, this band are incredibly angry, and Brendan Murphy is a fantastic mouthpiece to put this aggression out there, and some of their breakdowns are incredibly heavy, like some of the heaviest stuff I've heard in a while. And you can see this on the breakdowns of Pariah, where he just screams, "You're fucking hurt!" And then an apparition as well, which has to be one of the heaviest moments. But what I like about the breakdowns is that they're really clever, and they don't just kind of derail the entire momentum and overall feel of the song just to make a breakdown. Instead, it's really cleverly put together and intrinsic to the song's makeup. The album culminates in this fantastic finale that is Sands of Sleep, which pretty much showcases everything that we've seen on these kind of really fierce 2-minute tracks, but ties it together in this amazing 5-minute sort of opus, and really reminded me of the final section of Nails' Abandon All Life, and kind of ends with that atmospheric sound where we go back to those sort of demonic voices for the final time. This is without a doubt on the same sort of lines of ferocity that we saw from Umbra Vitae earlier on this year. And I have to say that End have created an album which is just full of vitriolic rage. It may be somewhat one-dimensional, but you cannot fault the songwriting on this album. It's an absolutely brilliant record and definitely surprised me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. I also hope you learned a little bit more about End and their brand new album Splinters from an Ever-Changing Face. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter over at The Metal Triss. Make sure you give me a follow, and I will see you guys very, very soon for another album review. Be safe and take care.